Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new scammer today. Maher. Maher. Yeah, interesting. Secret to double profits during the market crash. What market crash? What are you talking about? So this guy is apparently some type of a hippie meet Kevin. Kind of a Kevin Paffrath, kind of a mix between Kevin and Graham Stephan. Let's go ahead and take a look at Mr. Maher's Teachable. And keep in mind, once again, Teachable, Udemy, all these types of online courses are a fucking scam. Huge scam. Those companies are shit. They're scum, run by scumbags, pitching scams. And folks, it's supply and demand. The problem is there's a lot of demand because a lot of stupid people out there. No, but you don't. I learned something. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you know what? Stupid people learn things too, and they never get anywhere in life because they don't learn enough. The bar's not raised high enough for them. Anyway, that's a whole other topic of discussion. But let's take a look at Mr. Maher's coaching. Now, Mr. Maher, he's another crypto guru. Of course, it requires no expertise, no nothing, basically. And by the way, let me just go ahead and mention, I haven't talked about cryptocurrency here on this platform, which cryptocurrencies are a pure 100% scam. And anyone who wants to debate me for money on that, all you crypto guys, go to the crypto experts. Go to your favorite crypto guy, the world authorities, and tell them I'll debate them for money. We'll have a third-party consulting firm determine who wins the debate. Guaranteed, write it down, none of these pussies will debate me. Because they're going to look into who I am, but they're going to say, holy shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. We don't want him to uncover the truth about cryptocurrencies. How do I know this? Because the same thing happened with all these gold kingpins. Okay? All these guys. They don't want to debate me. They don't want to have me on their platform because I expose the reality. So anyway, let's take a look. And then I mentioned this guy is a crypto guy because he's also getting the stock market. You know how it goes. Scam artists always gravitate towards the latest big deal. Irrespective, it doesn't matter if they don't have any knowledge or any expertise. They're always going towards the big thing. Let me explain to you folks how the scam artists work. Here's what the scam artists do. They get a big audience, a big following. And unfortunately, almost always, let's say at least 95% of this audience, of this following, get too accustomed to the individual, their personality. Oh, I like him. He's a nice guy. He's a good person. And it's so funny. The people that typically say this about their cult leader, the cult leader is a scumbag. He's a piece of trash who would rob them from their last penny. And they don't even realize that. But so what happens is that they build a big audience. And once you have the audience, you basically just sell anything. You see, you've got the suckers, and you can sell them anything because they're fucking fools. Folks, this is the way it operates. This is the way it works. It's been operating this way for quite some time. Guys like Tony Robbins began this thing. But now that we have YouTube and all these other platforms, basically any dimwit, any douchebag, any idiot can do this. All you got to do is smile and seem like I'm a nice guy. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. You see, that's how it works. So this guy, Mr. Maher, Maxwell, he started getting into the stocks. Why? Well, because it was a big deal, right? Stocks are soaring in 2020. 2021. All of a sudden, he becomes a stock guru in addition to a cryptocurrency guru. And by the way, this whole analogy, you can think about this from the gamers, right? People on YouTube, one of the best ways to start a channel if you're a complete brainless dildo is to play video games and show people your video games and get a big following. before you know it, you got 1 million, 2 million, 5 million followers. You're talking about international politics and global economics and medical care and engineering and physics and chemistry, right? And your idiotic cult members don't question. They just suck it all up. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's what this guy did. A lot of these guys doing the same thing. That's why I mention this, because you can see here, he says he has a half-hour consultation call. Doesn't say for what, because of course he covers cryptocurrencies, the stock market, anything you want basically. If you say, well, I want to talk to you about starting a helium balloon business, of course he's going to say, sure, I can help you do that. You see? So take a look. Wow. I mean, he's charging more than me? I mean, listen, and you're going to find out here shortly, this guy is not only a hippie, he's uneducated. He says he's a college dropout. We all know what that means, folks. He flunked out of college. And he was in the moving business. Moving furniture. Yeah, that's what he was doing before he realized the key to ripping people off, going on YouTube and making yourself out to be a cryptocurrency and stock market guru, despite the fact that you have no qualifications and you're uneducated. And let me just mention one more thing about cryptocurrency. Anyone who talks about the price target on Bitcoin, it's impossible. It's just like with gold and silver. Those assets, it's impossible. And I didn't mean to use the term asset for cryptocurrency. It's bullshit. It's not an asset. We'll just go ahead and use the term. But someone please explain to me how you come up with a price target for gold, silver, or any cryptocurrency. It's a fucking guess. It's a complete guess. That's the reality. Everybody understand that? It's a guess. Now, if you don't understand that, let me explain, and many of you probably don't. You see, they're using the whole Wall Street price target system. So, well, everything's, stocks have a price target, therefore gold can have a price target, right? And cryptocurrencies. No. Let me explain something to you folks out there who don't understand how it works. You see, with stocks, equities, the reason why there are price targets is because it's based on valuation. Okay? It's based on valuation. And valuations are driven by, there's many different types of valuation methodologies, but certainly one of the most common is going to be based on the ability to generate cash flows and hopefully eventually earnings. Okay? They're productive assets. They're generating cash flows, streams of cash flows, right? It's a business. And over time, as the business grows, hopefully it will generate a profit if it's successful, right? So based upon that, you can come up with, and of course it's more complicated. There's many other ways to do it, but generally speaking, that's how price targets are generated. They're determined based upon the ability of a company's expectation to generate cash flow, stream of income. Okay, gold, silver, commodities, they don't generate streams of income. Cryptocurrencies, they don't as well. Therefore, the whole idea of price target with gold and silver and cryptocurrencies is a scam. Now, you never heard that, have you? Ask yourself why you've never heard that. It should scare you that there's so much bullshit out there, because what I've just explained is actually common sense for anybody who has the most basic understanding of how stocks are valued or how price targets are determined. It's based on valuation. There's no way to determine a value of gold and silver and cryptocurrencies except for what someone's willing to pay right now, this instant, right? Price targets are in the future. You don't know what someone's going to pay for something that has no ability to generate a stream of revenue, right? It's a guess. It's a complete guess. It's manipulative. Anyway, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. I meant to focus on this guy. But you can see he's charging nearly $1,000 an hour to speak to him. What? Now, let me just compare something here. It's more than I charge, and my rates are going up, by the way. I'm a three-decade long financial professional. I've worked with some of the best, largest investment banks, Wall Street firms in the world. UBS, Bear Stearns. I've worked as a merchant banker, the only person ever actually in the private client services at Bear Stearns who have worked as a merchant banker. I have advised multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, mutual funds, endowment plans, pension plans, venture firms. I've worked in venture capital, and I have an excellent track record, one of the best track records in the world on securities analysis, market forecasting, macroeconomic forecasting. So it's amazing to me that you've got this guy who's not qualified to do anything but move your furniture. If you're charging crazy rates, I mean, think about it. He's getting paid maybe $25 an hour as a mover, and now he's charging $500 per half hour, $1,000 an hour to talk to him on the phone. That's a scam. You're dealing with a pure scam artist. A scam artist. Write that down. Now, we haven't seen it all yet. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see here. Yeah, so here's his courses. Moving Company Millionaire. YouTube code cracked. Okay. You see, he's building his Meet Kevin repertoire. Folks, look, there's no fucking secret to make a moving company. Just because somebody made a moving company doesn't mean he has some type of special insight, because he doesn't. That's a scam. You want a moving company? It's pretty fucking simple. It's pretty simple. Get a truck, maybe two, okay? Hire some cheap labor and market yourself. That's all. It's that simple. It's that simple. Of course, he's selling this dream. He's targeting vulnerable people that may be out of work. I'm going to show you how to make $1 million as a mover. Well, if it's such a great business and you're so good at it, what the hell are you doing on YouTube? Oh, that's right. You don't have to work. You can just sit on your butt and make stupid disinfo, clickbait videos and get suckers to pay you a lot of money for bullshit. Oh, it's only $500. Don't these titles seem familiar, folks? From 0 to $1 million. Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan. I mean, when you have something like this, you have to know you're dealing with a scammer. Please understand that. This guy is such a scammer. It's disgusting. These people, something needs to happen to these people. Please, folks, contact the Federal Trade Commission. Report these scammers. YouTube's not going to do anything because YouTube's a partner in crime with all these scammers. YouTube is making money as a partner. They're promoting these scams and scam artists. This is the problem. YouTube needs to be shut down. It is a criminal organization, similar to the parent company Google. YouTube code cracked. Folks, anyone who's selling some type of information they claim YouTube code cracked, that's a scam. That's a fraud. Now, if you're selling a book, it's called that. Okay, it's kind of a book. It's kind of a fiction, kind of, $10 book. Okay, not a big deal. But when you're selling a course and you're making all these bogus claims, I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you this, and he wants to charge you $500. That's a scam. That is a fucking scam. Why don't you just tell people, cut to the chase, okay? Cut to the chase. Tell them the code is to sell clickbait. Clickbait bullshit and disinfo and make false promises. So the best is yet to come. Let's take a look at his Patreon now. News that makes you money. News, right? But in his Patreon, he tells you that he's going to show you, give you stock alerts and coaching, investment, right? Investment recommendations, investment advice, right? Take a look. This is all scam. Oh, there's no more remaining here. You got to get this. Oh, this is the scarcity scam. There's only 15 left. I got to get it. He's got 10,000 Patreons. I mean, this is just shocking. Now let's take a look at his YouTube video now. Secret to double profits during the market crash. I'm going to scan through this video.
I found the best way to protect yourself from the current market chaos. The thing is, we have no idea how long current conflicts or uncertainty will last, so I needed to dig deep into what the experts and history have to say. Meet Ray Dalio, the visionary behind the world's largest hedge fund. Not only is this guy rich, he's actually pretty smart.
Actually, he's not too smart. Let me explain something, folks. Now, the vast majority of you, probably almost all of you, are going to sneer what I'm going to say. Now, this guy is the typical sheep, the typical person who doesn't know jack shit. And he wants to tell you, Ray Dalio, he's a great investor. You got to listen to what he's saying. And he's saying that because that's what the media says. And Ray Dalio, by the way, and remember, I advise hedge funds, okay? I've been advising hedge funds for a long time, very long time. And I can tell you, prior to about 7-8 years ago or so, I never heard of this guy. So ask yourself why that is, how that could be. Similarly, as I mentioned a few years ago, when I exposed Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's relationship with him in a video that I made in 2016 in the spring, right when the whole Pizzagate thing, that was a cover-up, of course, created to distract people from Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's association. But when I talked about Jeffrey Epstein, I said, listen, I never heard of this guy before. He's a big hedge fund manager? No, he's not. That's bogus. There's something going on here. And I knew instantly, right? Now, my point is that Ray Dalio, by the way, I never heard of him until what? Well, over the past several years, Ray Dalio has gone out of his way, spent a lot of money, a lot of effort to get in front of the media, to let people know who he is. Why is that? It's very strange, folks. I'm telling you, he's got something up his sleeve. I don't know if he wants to run for president or whatever, but he's obviously trying to do something. It's very weird. And this all began when he teamed up with one of the biggest fraudsters, con artists in the world, Tony Robbins. I think he's the number one, right? Ask yourself, if you're teaming up with Tony Robbins, what does that say about you? You're judged by the company you keep. And this, of course, is why Warren Buffett is distancing himself kind of quietly from Bill Gates, if you may have noticed, right? Bill Gates, I believe, is no longer on the board of Berkshire. I think so. I'm not positive, but of course, and Bill Gates, of course, is associated with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Folks, I can't think of a single example I've ever seen where that saying doesn't hold true. You're judged by the company you keep, right? This guy, Maher, he wants to tell you, oh yeah, Ray Dalio's a great investor. And of course, most people are gonna believe that because they've heard the same thing. I'm here to tell you, folks, that Ray Dalio ain't no great investor. And of course, what you're going to hear is, yeah, but he's got the biggest hedge fund in the world. What are you talking about? You don't know anything. You're just jealous. Or you're going to hear, yeah, he's a billionaire. What are you? He has more money than you. And let me just tell you, if you're thinking that, or if you ever give me that type of response, I'll tell you right now, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you have somebody like me in my position who knows what's going on, you should ask yourself, okay, so can you explain to us why? Don't just come to stupid conclusions based upon your lack of understanding. Number one, the fund business is all about raising capital. Number two, Ray Dalio, as I mentioned this before, he doesn't even really, it's not really a hedge fund. It's structured legally as a hedge fund, but it's actually a mutual fund. Okay, I'm not going to get into the details of that, and his performance really ain't that good. So I wanted to bring this up because this is the psychology, right? This is how you steer the sheep into the slaughterhouse. You bring up the whole, oh, Warren Buffett says this, or Ray Dalio, right? So this is his first little pitch. He wants to tell you a little about Ray Dalio.
The visionary behind the world's largest.
Not really.
Trust the
Ray
government
Dalio
goes
didn't
on
predict the financial crisis. I did. Warren Buffett didn't either. Matter of fact, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway lost $30 billion in the financial crisis. And he actually kind of engaged in some kind of front-running, kind of illegal activity, in my opinion, when, as some of you might recall, actually, most of you were still in diapers back then, but Warren Buffett struck deals with Goldman Sachs, right? Got some sweet deals, financed them, bought the bonds, perhaps think maybe convertible bonds, can't remember. Same thing with General Electric and several other companies that were eventually bailed out. And then he goes on national TV and appeals to everyone, please, we need the bailout. Support your congressman. Tell them, yes, we want the bailout. Did Warren Buffett mention that he had already invested in these companies that were going to get bailed out? No, he didn't. Did the media talk about that? No, they didn't. Yeah, that's right. If you don't believe me, look it all up. Anyway.
A rampant spending spree for years, taking on too much debt, and reserve currency is constantly
So here's the whole inflation
old.
Scare, currency scare. Okay, great. Everything's connected. Okay, great. So now he wants to tell you about commodities.
Some consumers will turn to Russia and Ukraine produce products like DBC or DBA.
Okay.
DBC gets you a diversified bundle of crude oil, natural gas, copper, and a whole lot more. DBA has agricultural products like corn, soybeans, and wheat. Now, past performance is no guarantee of future returns. But
so he's telling you last year, these commodities funds did really good. So let me ask you this question. How are you going to double your profits? This guy is a clickbait con man. He doesn't even understand how these commodities ETFs work. These ETFs, they are investing in the futures contracts. So the transactions are going to be, the fees are going to be high by the time all the costs come in. And also you're going to have to deal with backwardation, right? Forwardation. There's many, many things, complexities. This guy is a complete clown. He doesn't understand. And I'll just go ahead and tell you that these types of funds are really best for shorter term, certainly not for long term, unless you have an extreme, an exaggerated bull market in commodities. And I mean, we've already gotten a lot, right, in the commodities market. So I don't know that it would be the best time to get in per se. Nonetheless, my point is that he's just trying to pitch something. You read the title, Secret to Double Profits During Market Crash. Well, how is that? Tell me, how does this translate into double profits during a market crash? You see, because let me just explain another thing, folks. This guy is so stupid, he doesn't have a clue what's going on. During a market crash, do you know what happens? And of course, most people, most novices, and even somewhat experienced investors make this mistake. You don't get deflation, you get deleveraging. It's a big difference, okay? Deleveraging refers to what happens with assets. Deflation refers to what happens to consumer and business prices. So what happens in a market crash typically is due to, well, you get deleveraging, and you might have a very short period of deflation, although it's not likely, at least in the U.S., because the Fed would come in. But my point is that you have a lack of demand. The demand collapse, consumer demand collapse. What do you think is going to happen to commodities? If you're getting a market crash and some type of economic contraction, recession, what do you think commodities are going to do? They're going to collapse. I mean, you see, the only reason why commodities have soared is because the economy is actually, generally speaking, pretty strong. And you have an issue with demand. You don't have the commodities. And you also have a shock, a crisis. People are betting on a lower supply of commodities. I think I said demand earlier. We have a supply issue. The demand is there, right? We got plenty of demand, not enough supply. So you have to understand what's going on from a macroeconomic standpoint if you're going to invest in something like this, and understand when it might be likely to fall. Because I can tell you right now, these commodities funds are going to collapse. If you get a big market collapse that's lasting due to an economic weakness. In fact, just go back and take a look during the 2008 financial crisis, what happened to commodities, right? So this guy's an idiot. He's disinfo. Folks, this guy knows just enough to cause you to lose your ass. Lose your ass. And this is why you need someone who's experienced, professional, to be explaining these things. Not some fucking idiot, right? Not some fucking idiot. And quite honestly, even better advice than that is to stay away from all this shit. You think you're going to make all this money, guaranteed you're going to lose your ass. Let's go ahead and finish this
If you
out.
bought either one of them last year, you did pretty darn well. You shouldn't do this, but only play options if you know what you're doing. Buying call options to get extra leverage, but be very careful and only play options if you know what you're doing. But by far, the biggest and most degen way to play commodities as a retail investor is with futures. You shouldn't do this, but it's good to understand how it works.
Okay.
Futures.
If you shouldn't do it, he's saying, why is it good to understand how it works? You see, it's a disclaimer. He's telling you, I'm recommending not to do it, but I want to tell you how it works, right? Con man.
Let you gain an insane amount of leverage so you can profit a potential massive amount if the price of corn moves like a penny. But that also means you can lose a massive amount. Futures are used by people like farmers to hedge their crops.
Let me just explain something. The futures markets, the brokers, commodities brokers, foreign currency, if you're in the retail crowd, you're getting ripped off on every single trade. They're skimming. I'm telling you. That's a fact. It's been going on for a long time. And for this guy to even bring it up, I mean, think about it. Think about who his audience is. His audience, complete knuckleheads, brainless morons that don't know anything. Why would you bring up the topic of futures and tell them, I don't recommend you do this, but you can make an insane amount of money, right? He's effectively luring them in, okay? Because if he's responsible and knowledgeable, he would say, don't ever get into futures. Now, some people might want to, and there are certainly some ways to do it more responsibly, but this guy sure as hell doesn't know how to do it. He has no fucking idea. He's a clickbait con man, Max Maher. Yeah, the hippie hybrid between Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan. Our scammer of the day. And there are too many of these guys. God, there's so many. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to cover this guy again. But at least you guys know now. Another disaster, another danger. Max Maher.
terms of getting back as an investor, if it's coming down to here, almost irrespective of what's going on, I have to believe, if I have to make a call in advance, and of course I can change depending on what happens, but I have to believe this is where you want to start doing that 18, 17, around there. Their earnings report is a complete game changer, at least for quite a while. Bottom line, NVIDIA now is going to enter the realm of Tesla, Apple, and all these other big, I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works. I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works.